Electric vehicles are becoming increasingly popular, but for apartment residents with an EV, one crucial question remains. Can you confidently own an EV without a home charging station? So let's find out the real issue behind the apartment charging. Tag along with us till the end of the video and subscribe to our channel to watch such content. Are people hesitant to buy EVs because of charging concerns? EV owners worldwide face the dilemma of where to charge their vehicles since gas stations are everywhere. This isn't a problem for most car buyers unless they live in an apartment without access to a charging station. When shopping for a vehicle, most people don't think about where they'll charge it. However, for those looking to buy an electric vehicle, this is a crucial consideration. Charging an EV is as important as any other decision in the buying process. Ideally, a level 2 240-volt charger should be installed in your driveway or garage to top off the battery every night if needed. This setup is convenient for homeowners. But if you live in an apartment like 36% of Americans according to the most recent US census, you're not as lucky. Charging options for apartment dwellers are often expensive, inconvenient, or both, making EV ownership more challenging. For tenants in multi-unit buildings, lithium-ion batteries which power electric vehicles pose a significant fire hazard. Many insurance companies are wary of approving charging in enclosed spaces like underground parking lots. Fire safety regulations for installing EV chargers in apartments are becoming stricter. Retrofitting existing buildings can be expensive because upgraded fire suppression systems are needed. These factors make insurance companies hesitant to cover potential fire damage from EV charging in apartments. According to a 2022 survey, worries about charging have caused over 40% of consumers to delay purchasing an EV. People have been hesitant to buy an EV until they have their own garage. According to a study of Californians who bought EVs between 2012 and 2018, 70% of them didn't have access to level 2 charging at their workplace or home. 1 in 5 switched back to a gas-powered car because charging was inconvenient. One policy consideration is the development of laws to make charging installation easier for condo owners and renters. Currently, 9 states have right to charge laws. These laws require that installing an EV charger be allowed in an owner's unit, a designated parking space, or a parking space allocated for the unit. What are the potential dangers of EV charging? While the environmental benefits are undeniable, EVs can be as dangerous as any other vehicles that use gas or fuel. Charging an EV is one major area where everything is not under the user's control. When charging, hundreds of things can go wrong. You might wonder how this is even possible, but anything is possible in this world. Right now, everyone, including you and all of us, is thinking about the future. Let's rethink the approach. Instead of insisting on parking requirements for EVs in apartment buildings, some EV enthusiasts suggest every spot should have access to an EV charger. On the other hand, requiring parking spaces to be EV-ready is important. Even if cities no longer mandate minimum off-street parking requirements, developers often include parking in their projects. These buildings will be around for 50 years or more, and we aim to achieve zero emissions by 2050. With EV adoption rates doubling every 2 years, there's a risk of a severe shortage of charging options for apartment residents much sooner. This could force them to rely on gas-powered vehicles. One of the benefits of EVs, if charging can be done at homes, is that you don't have to go out to refuel unless you're driving more than your car's daily range. American drivers typically cover about 37 miles per day, and less than 1% of trips exceed 100 miles. This makes EVs much more convenient and cheaper to fuel than ICE vehicles if you charge at home. However, it's important to note that of the $7.5 billion allocated in the infrastructure law for public charging, 83% is earmarked for fast chargers along highways. This leaves relatively few resources for public charging that serve those without home charging capabilities, which is quite unfair. It's evident that all new residential parking spaces built from now on should include charging options. Retrofitting electricity for parking later is much more costly, so it's crucial to ensure that any new residential parking is prepared for EVs. If you have parking, you should have access to charging, plain and simple. Every housing unit with parking must have access to charging in at least one parking spot. Level 2 charging is sufficient and can be provided through a receptacle or outlet. Meters should be installed to make it easy to directly bill customers and residents for electricity usage. This prevents middlemen from adding extra charges for apartment dwellers, saves building managers from the hassle of figuring out fair electricity billing, and allows residents in multi-family homes to benefit from future resilience measures like vehicle-to-home backup power during grid outages. Making EV charging more accessible for US renters is essential to making EVs a viable option for everyone. Establishing more EV charging stations in apartments and other multi-family units offer benefits that go beyond EV equity. Renters benefit by being able to charge at home instead of relying on public charging. Property owners also stand to gain significantly, although this aspect is often overlooked. When EV chargers are installed in apartment complexes, landlords gain a competitive advantage. They attract tenants who already own or are interested in owning EVs. Additionally, landlords can explore ways to monetize these stations or take advantage of the incentives to recover their investment quickly. Despite these benefits, many landlords are hesitant to proceed with changes to their multifamily developments. There are several reasons for this, but it mainly boils down to 4 key obstacles. The cost of updating electrical infrastructure is the biggest barrier. Installing EV chargers can be costly, especially depending on how many are needed for a specific apartment complex. Moreover, complexes often need electrical upgrades to meet the increased demand. For a large apartment complex, these costs can accumulate quickly. However, delaying the addition of EV chargers means owners miss out on opportunities to take advantage of incentives and tax credits, such as up to $30,000 for commercial charging station installations. Many state agencies and utilities also provide extra incentives to help lower initial costs. One major reason for hesitation among multifamily property owners is slow demand growth among residents. They question how they'll recover costs if there aren't enough tenants interested in using the chargers, although through charging fees or increased rent. Historically, it's been a valid question. Renters have been slower than homeowners to embrace EVs. However, as EV adoption gains momentum, renters are increasingly joining the trend. For example, a 2022 survey by the National Multifamily Housing Council revealed that 27% of owners were interested in EV charging stations and they would be willing to pay $28 per month for them. As more apartments start offering charging stations, more rentals will expect them. Therefore, owners who act now can benefit by staying ahead of the curve. Parking availability poses an extra hurdle for owners in apartment complexes. To cut costs, it might seem logical to install a limited number of charging stations throughout the complex. However, deciding where to place these stations is tricky. How do you allocate EV charging spots? Which tenants get the convenient spots near their apartments, and who ends up parking further away just to charge their car? In most multifamily properties, parking spots are assigned, which makes it difficult for tenants to spare chargers. Owners might consider setting up a separate area specifically for EV charging. This charging zone still needs to be close enough to the residential areas to attract residents and make charging convenient. It's also crucial to ensure that there are enough chargers so tenants aren't frequently competing for time and space or getting annoyed with other tenants who forget to move their cars after charging. So share your thoughts with us in the comment section below. Also, hit the like and subscribe button to watch such informative contents.